you like to make any remarks before we officially convene and start recording?
Sure, just good to see everyone today, and thank you again for your service in this regard. We do appreciate your time. I know everybody's really busy these days, so it's greatly appreciated. I don't have a whole lot of updates as far as I know everybody's waiting to hear about those non-recurring state aid funds. We are still waiting to hear how those are going to be distributed as well, and when they'll be available. And the state librarian search, we're hoping interviews will start soon. But again, everything seems to be slow this year. So, but it's great to see everybody, and thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Susan. I don't know how this is appropriate, but I can say it since we're not recording yet. If you have one of those interviews, Godspeed. It's now 10:32.
Recording in progress.
It is now 10:32 a.m. and I'd like to call the March 11, 2022 meeting of the Public Librarian Certification Commission to order. Members present are
Dr. Gant, myself, Lauren Clossy, Sarah Whitty, Sandra Lovely, Nina Chafin, Susan Forbes, Wanda Brown, and Brian Hart.
Thank you, Lauren. And just a reminder to everyone that this meeting is being live streamed via the Department of Natural and Cultural Resources YouTube channel. I will now read the ethics statement. In accordance with the State Ethics Act, Chapter 138A of the North Carolina General Statutes, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of conflict. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matters before the board today? If so, please identify the conflict or appearance of conflict and refrain from any undue participation in the particular matter involved. With that said, we will move to the meeting minutes from the December 3rd, 2021 regular meeting. And thanks to Sarah Whitty and Lauren Costley for their assistance. The minutes can be found in Basecamp. Having had an opportunity to review those minutes from the December 3rd regular meeting, if there are no objections or need for further discussion, do we have a motion to approve the minutes, or are there any amendments?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I move that we accept the minutes.
All right, and that was Dr. John Gant, who has made the motion. Do we have a second? And if so, can you state your name?
It's Nina Chaffin, and I will second that motion.
All right, we'll now do a roll call to vote on the approval of these minutes. Dr. John Gant?
Yes.
Ms. Sandra Lovely?
Yes.
Ms. Nina Chaffin,
Yes.
Ms. Wanda Brown,
Yes.
and Mr. Brian Hart. Yes. The minutes are now approved. Yay. Any old business?
I did want to, I put on our agenda, the old business was just to give you guys more information about the terms, because we had a question about like the vice chair, the chair. So we got great news from the governor's office that Brian can continue to serve as chair at the governor's pleasure. So we didn't have to necessarily vote, but we weren't sure at that time. So it was better just to do it anyway and be ready. But at this point, Dr. Gant to be reappointed, and until June, he'll stay on as vice chair. And then we'll see if we need to revote again. But just for, just to have it noted, the chair is designated by the governor among the commission members, and they just serve at the governor's pleasure throughout their time on the commission. And the vice chair serves a 2-year term or until the expiration of their appointed term. So I wanted to just let that be noted in our meeting, since we had so many questions last time. But that's all.
And also, isn't it correct, Ms. Clossley, that the vice chair reports directly to me? I'm just kidding.
I guess. I don't want to be on the record saying.
No, it's not. All right.
That's fine. I can't wait to come to your library and start working. I'll be there Monday, right in your office. I can't wait to get there. I'll bring my mother with me too. She lives in Winston. So yeah, we'll be at your office 8 o'clock sharp. I hope you're ready for us.
That's earlier than I'll be here, sir. All right. Thank you for humoring me. So that said, thank you, Lauren, for that update. Greatly appreciate it. And I look forward to personally continuing my term on this board. It has been on this commission. It has been a pleasure. The meeting is now open for new business. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to discuss?
No, I do have something. I just again want to thank Lauren and Sarah for all of your support. I was watching the emails come in and how you're getting everything organized and so forth. And I look forward to this meeting. We have a lot to do, but it's so well organized, especially now we've moved to virtual and we've got base camp set up. I just really appreciate all the hard work that you all do, getting things redacted, all set up for us and so forth. And I just wanted to, tell you thank you again for everything.
Thank you. That means a lot. And I owe it all to Sarah. She gets it all together. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'd say the same for Lauren. She's super helpful with all of this. So thank you to all of you guys for being patient too with me.
And you all make it fun. That's good. It's good that it's a fun group. So we appreciate that.
And Dr. Gant definitely speaks for the rest of the commission, I believe, as well. No other new items for business to discuss. Meeting adjourned. No, just kidding. We have a review of applications. Today we have a total of 0 in-state applications. There were already 28 total in-state applications that were approved through the normal previously established protocols of kind of delegating that authority. If anyone's interested, UNCG had 15, or there were 15 in-state applications from UNCG, 6 from East Carolina University, 4 from North Carolina Central University, 1 from Appalachian State University, and 2 from UNC Chapel Hill, I presume. And there are now 7 out-of-state applications that we shall review. I will kind of turn it over at this juncture for Lauren to finesse it and walk us through which of those we would like to start with.
Okay, we will start with 844. I think that is the first one in our folder, which is Clarion University. And Sarah has put down below underneath the redacted application, she's put the information, the course description link down there.
Yeah, it's John. I support this one. I don't see, it looks like I'm satisfied that it meets the requirements.
I do too.
You know, y'all remember that sometimes the PDF, you don't see under the competencies. So my eye immediately went to where it says reference, genre fiction and reader advisory. And Lord, you know, I thought that was for the management. I thought, oh boy, here we go already. But anyway, it was just 2 additional ones. And
Go ahead, Sarah.
I did include another document on there that has what the competencies should be, because I realized that after I had uploaded them that they disappeared again on me. I don't know why Adobe does that to me. And every time I redact something, it takes those out. So if you were wondering like what the row 1 should be, there is a document in the thing that says row 1 should be catalog, row 2 should be reference, 3 should be collection development, and the 4 should be management.
And that was so helpful. Thank you for doing that. I really,
You're welcome.
yes,
yeah,
thank you.
So we do still need one more sign off.
Oh, I can do that too.
Okay, perfect. Excellent. Okay. 8:40.
And I know that I would like to just chime in and say, I know that it's easier for this part of the process when we're in person, because we literally see the number of signatures that are required or number of initials that are required. And so just for everyone and potentially our viewing audience, 3 commission members have to approve the application.
Yes. Okay.
Brian,
Go ahead.
Brian,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian wanted to get, I'm traveling, so I'm mostly in a listening mode.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why I wanted you for looking at you. But if I need to look at something, I would have to switch screens because I'm on my phone. Switch screens to look at it. So
Understood.
I just want to say that. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move to our next one, which is 835, University of Kentucky.
with this one. This is one of those interesting ones that, you know, the order in which they filled out the application, you know, is interesting, but overall, the courses that they identified speak to each of the required competencies. So I will be one of the three approvers.
I will too. I can support this one as well.
Yeah, I support it too. Hate to nitpick. Do you think we should change the order here so that they're in the right categories?
I know we just,
I can make a note of that. When I do the in-state applications, I make a note every time I have to do that,
Yeah.
just in case. So I'm happy to, if you tell me how to change it, I'll just type it into my notes for today.
Yeah.
So Sarah, read that order again, because I think 2 and 3 are mixed up. I just want to make sure. Read the order that they're supposed to for the competencies again. I'm going to write it down this time.
All right, it should be, row 1 should be cataloging.
Cataloging, okay.
Right.
Row 2 should be reference.
Reference.
3 should be collection development. And then
Yeah.
4 is library management.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
So 3, I mean, 4 is definitely in the right spot. My red flag, well, it's not a red flag, kind of a yellow flag, is public libraries for collection development.
Right.
And I guess I have to look at the course. I can open the course real quick, but at Central, our public libraries course looks more like a management course than a collection development course. It's a combination of both, but it's mostly a management type course. And they do have the digital librarianship. Well, that's about administering collections versus. Yeah, here we go.
You want to see? Do you want to see the description of?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, let's because it is important that
I
things are
can
in the right
share the
category.
screen.
Please.
You want to see 621?
Yeah, please. Thanks.
Okay. Let's see.
well, I really think,
Or
Sandra, I
645.
really think the one to see, and you know, Dr. Gant has a difference of opinion. I don't want to speak on his bad, but I think the one to really look at here is 665. Is the collection development. So if we could look at 665 and then maybe go back to 645.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Mhm.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, and it's funny because I was just reviewing our digital library pro class at Central. That's why I knew it wasn't necessarily collection development.
Right.
And agree, this is very similar. This is not. This is a tool for digital collections, but it's not a collection development class.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you want to go back to 621?
Or stop at 645 first.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, you read this. This is more of a management course, information.
Right, because I have it marked as management, and then
Right.
I had 621 marked as reference.
Yeah, okay, let's see that. Definitely. Yeah, 621 is definitely reference.
Mhm.
And so 621, they did list as
As
of course, that satisfies the
reference.
competency. The digital librarianship, when they listed it on their application as digital collection development, and honestly, to me, just thinking about what a digital library is, you know, I kind of think of that as curating, digital content. And so I just look at that, and this might be my kind of novice baseline understanding of it because I don't deal with it, regularly within my own day-to-day responsibilities. But I just look at it as, curating digital content in the spirit of, developing a collection that's accessible digitally. And so collection of resources, materials, et cetera. And so that is why I was confident approving or being one of the approvers for this particular application. And that is the class that I would have moved up to collection development. But if, obviously if we don't have a consensus or if we don't have 3, then it doesn't pass. But just for clarity and transparency, that's what my thinking was.
Yeah, I hear you. Collection development goes hand in hand with digital libraries in this day and age, but collection, going through systematically, the different themes of a particular area and the acquisition of the materials, as well. And so the digital libraries is the means for making that available. And there is a hand in glove relationship between the two. I believe that the other course that the person has on there.
This one, wouldn't it? This one?
Just a second, hang on. I got too many screens open. No, I'm referring to consumer health information resources. That is a collection development class.
Oh, I'm looking at something else. Yeah.
Yeah. LIS 627 is a collection development class in health information. So that's a collection development. That's a classic.
Which says 627? Yeah. I'm sorry, I clicked the wrong one.
I would point out as well that on her, we always assume in the assigned gender, I'm sorry, on the candidates or applicants transcript, they've also taken 614, which according to the transcript is library materials and literature for young adults.
Yep.
Which is yet another collection development course.
Yeah.
So
so
they have a number of courses that follow.
What do you say? Yeah, what do you say we make the change in the following way then to recommend to Lauren? Let's put 614 down under collection development. This consumer health, let's change that to collection development. This public libraries actually is a management course. It would fit the management competency.
Okay, so it would be 602, 621, 614, 645.
I'm not sure, Lauren, what you're saying.
Not 645.
Yeah, 645 is a management. That should be a management competency.
Yes.
We already have 603.
Yes. I wrote them out, all 4 of them, even if we didn't change all of them.
Yeah. And then, but the rest of what you said is right.
Okay,
yeah, the rest
perfect.
of what you said is right.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay, do the 3 of you that signed off on it still feel good about it?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
I'll sign off on it as well.
Okay.
Keep your eyes on the road, Wanda.
Exactly. I already signed off on it.
Tell him I said hello. I'm not that good.
Hope you're not driving one of them self-driving cars and you got it up on these PDFs on your nav screen.
See, that's how we're gonna Zoom in the future, self-driving cars, and we'll just be zooming away.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, we have 4 signatures for that one, so we're good there. So we'll move to 832, which is Syracuse University.
Oh.
This last one with the Kentucky one was a good case because the person is more than well qualified. It's just a matter of getting things in the right buckets. So.
and not to, belabor the point, but I know we at one in-person meeting, I recall, we did discuss somehow, process or a means for like making it abundantly clear to candidates how they should fill it out, and I know that is already communicated in various places, but just, making it very, accessible and clear to them that this is, what this competency means. This is how it should be filled out. Because, yeah, to Dr. Gaines' point, this person was well qualified, so it wasn't so much a debate about the merit of the application, but rather the filing and accuracy of it.
Lauren, can you remind us what number we're on again?
Yes, 832 Syracuse.
All right, Syracuse. I was okay with this one.
I was too.
I was okay with this one.
Okay, we've got Sandra, we've got Nina.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too, but full disclosure, you guys, I don't know if you know, I was on faculty at Syracuse over 10 years, well, a long time ago, 15 years or so ago, and not in this area, and I don't know this person, so. But.
Okay. Okay. To 827 San Jose State.
Okay.
I can support this one too.
I do as well, Brian.
Yeah, I do too, John.
Okay, 827 is approved. 826 is the next one for Valdosta State University.
I had a question. Wait a minute.
I think we got a bucket problem with this one. Look at the transcript. So a couple of flags. They've got foundations for cataloging. Foundation is definitely not a cataloging class. And research methods for reference, and research methods is definitely not a reference class either.
Yeah, and I was wondering if you could use 73, the organization of information for, I think,
Cataloging. Yep.
Yeah.
And then, yep. And then they've got 7100 at the last class on the list here.
Mhm.
7100 information sources and services as reference.
Right.
Yeah. So let's make that substitution.
Mhm.
And they didn't fill out their application right at all, but they took the appropriate courses, it seemed like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So with those changes,
Me too. Me too. What's that?
Okay. I have Nina, Sandra, and Dr. Gant. And we are changing, we're using organization of information for cataloging. And was there one more change that you wanted?
What is it? Dr. Gant said 7100, the one that's the bottom for reference.
Mhm.
They have it indicated here. And then
Okay.
I guess the other two stand
Okay. Got
remain
it.
the same.
Okay. Perfect. All right. 827 is approved. We'll move to,
I think that was 826, Lauren.
oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it was. I put the wrong thing. So Sarah, I told you the wrong number, 826. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I got it.
Okay. Are you pulling them out of the folder as we, okay, okay, perfect. All right, so 809 is the next one for University of Washington.
All right.
I can support this one.
I can.
Me too.
Okay.
I raised my hand before Dr. Gant said me too. So
Yeah. So Brian's got it.
I
We
mean,
give this one-
you are the chair.
he does report.
Okay, 809 is approved, and we will do our final one. Is 154 Texas Women's University.
This one I was not able to see what management course. What was the management course?
Right.
That was my question.
I had the same question. Well, I found it. It's I used 5313. I just used college and university library management.
I almost feel like and I'm joking with this comment, but I almost feel like, I should say that there's a conflict of interest for me because that part of the discussion always, just because again, this is the Public Librarian Certification Commission, and we have these conversations a lot. But I had lunch with an academic or a librarian who works at an academic at Wake Forest, Z. Smith library earlier this week, and we were talking about both of our library's approaches to diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is obviously an important aspect of management and leading and governance and in terms of the strategy that you implement to weather storm and make sure that your practices are ethical and, so on and so forth. And so anyway, but, though the topic DEI was the same, the approaches could not have been more different. And I think that spoke to, I'm in a public library space serving the general public, his audience at an academic library is just very different. At 2 locations spread out across the county, they have one on a college campus. So it's just different. It's just different management practices and stuff that go into all of that.
But it is.
I'm not weighing in on this other than to state that I'm not, denying.
But I do think, John, we have given people credit for like management of school media things. That we have given them credit for the management piece when they've had management in other specialties, right? And I think sometimes you can have one mindset when you're in school thinking that you want to be an academic library, and then change. But management to me is still management. It's the principles there. Hard to know who's covered in the course, but I would be inclined to accept it as management.
Profession,
That's
just
good. Yes.
read it, just to read it.
I
Or
did.
no?
I did put it in the chat too for anybody else who
Okay.
she would need to. I guess we need to read it to her.
Well, but I think, wait, did you put that other one in there too?
I have the description. I can share it if you want to.
And Lauren just put it out there too. So I support this one because this course is definitely a management course. I do want to respond to you, Brian, if you don't mind. I hear you 100%, but remember we got to think about what are the rules that have been set up. And what you're talking about is competency of knowledge. What competencies do they have about knowledge of the public library? That's not one of the competencies that's required. And in fact, under library management, if I could share my screen off the webpage, if you guys don't mind. So I'm not disagreeing with you, Brian. I'm just saying our job is to say, how do we interpret what's been established? The definitions of the companies that have been established, by our commission. And when you read this, it doesn't say that it has to be management in the domain of the public library.
No.
It just talks about the practice of management, different types of libraries and information organizations, as a matter of fact. So when it comes to hiring, I would be all over that question. But, unless we want to add a competency that has to be in the public library, for now, I mean, that's our, this is where we are.
I agree. And that's why I wanted to be clear. And I appreciate, you mentioning that, and I appreciate, the discussion. But frankly, because honestly, I lifted that up for the discussion because, I am probably nobody is out there viewing this, but I am like cognizant of that. And so almost every time that comes in or a situation like that comes up, I feel compelled to say it because, this is the Public Librarian Certification Commission. And I know that we've agreed to these, to these instances like Wanda pointed out before. And as you pointed out, Dr. Gant, the definition of the competency would make this, compatible or, it jails. So I understand that. And I'm with it.
So the opposite is, and you remember in the last 10, 12 years, there's been a decline in the desirability for students to take management courses. in library science programs across the country. So much so, a couple of the leading journals in the field have done special journals about should we teach management in library science programs. The ALA, in they're revamping the accreditation requirements and the competencies. And you'll notice on the new ones that have been proposed, they've got now explicit categories for management, saying how important it is to be able to have that skill, because there's been such a feeling among students like, I'm in library, they'll say, I'm in library school. Why do I need to take a management course? And meanwhile, they'll come and sit down and lunch with any of you all. You'll say, well, this is the key reason why, because this is what you're going to be doing from day to day, as you move into a leadership role in the library, because you're managing the public library resources for the community. So I agree with you 100%. So, but anyway, I'm just, making that point, because what the opposite is are students who just totally avoid taking any management course.
And yeah, and that's a good point. One other thing I would add or throw out there so that it remains on the consciousness is the certification really, and chances are 5 to 10% of these applications we get that we approve, will be from people or other people who at some point aspire to serve as a director. But the whole purpose, the real purpose for the certification is, it's tied back to state funding and support that municipalities and counties can receive, because their library director that they've appointed or hired has a public librarian certification. Absent of that, they risk the loss of said funding. Charlotte Mecklenburg Library, maybe I shouldn't say that, but other library systems, it comes under scrutiny from time to time. And so it's just interesting, because again, it doesn't have any bearing or merit in the academic space. It's all about funding this commission, and it's ultimately about funding and support for library systems, state funding for library systems in North Carolina. So anyway, good conversation.
So all right, do we have any in a friendly way, I just want to really clarify what the overall mission of this commission is all about, right? It says we're formed in 1936, set minimum standards for public libraries to protect and maintain public library resources, to ensure professional management and administration of library services, to meet the personnel requirements for state aid administered by the state of North Carolina, and guarantee the best possible public library service to all North Carolinians. So I can see where you're saying that from a director's point of view. I think it's important that we are good stewards of the overall mission, because I don't want to lose fact that the public library and what its role and what it means for our state and what it means for our communities. And right now you're seeing across the country the whole challenge that we're having around misinformation, challenge about what is the role of a public library, what are public libraries offering and what services are they doing, do they reflect the values of communities and so forth. And libraries are being challenged. And they're being challenged. And I don't want it to be publicly said that the only reason we're here is to protect funding for the library. I want to make it very clear that having the public library certification is important for that core mission of what we do for our society and what we do for our state and our communities here in North Carolina. So with that said, let's shift topics. Do we have anything else? Because I don't want anybody to come back to us and say, I want the public to really know how important our public libraries are, because If you all are on listservs and stuff, and you're seeing what's happening in local communities right now. You're seeing folks challenging books. You're seeing folks challenging what libraries do. And the folks that we're certifying need to understand all of that. And then most importantly, given what their job is, how do and the part of the library that you work in, having a shared understanding about management is, I think, vital. It doesn't just rely on the director. Everybody in that, who's in a decision-making role really needs to understand that. So anyway.
With that, do we want to deny this?
Oh, no.
application?
I think we're in support. No, we're in
Okay.
support of this. We're off in philosophical issues about the
Oh,
whole
yes,
management
absolutely.
thing and whether or not remain here. And according to the rules of the road here, it is. And I think what we're doing is expressing a preference. And maybe it comes a point in time where we say, you know what, maybe there's another competency that that could be added about understanding the role of the public library, and so forth. And maybe, maybe that becomes a fifth competency that we could consider adopting down the road or something like that. But
Got it. Do we have 3 people who would sign off on 154?
yeah, so I do. One with the changes that we
Yes.
yeah, with those changes, yeah, so I do.
And I thought maybe Sandra had.
Okay.
You muted, Sandra.
Okay. That's 2.
I'll sign off.
Okay. Thank you, Wanda. Okay, that's 3. And I have made note of our discussion.
And I would like to know from the other board members, who do you support, me or Dr. Gant? No, I'm just kidding.
The funny part is that we're both on the same page. It's just a matter of how we implement it. So that's the truth of the matter.
Agreed.
We're on the same page, and I think, like I said, maybe it comes a point where we say, maybe there ought to be a fifth competency, because I think it is funny that we got these competencies, but but there's nothing tying them to the public library. So
It's just an interesting conversation because I recently hired someone who had only worked in the public library, maybe a little few years in an academic before they did management in a public library. But I think that a lot of that, I would want to make it too hard for people to switch back and forth, because I think a lot of the interpretation of the culture comes from the culture they get immersed in, and I think your life can take many, many patterns and many changes. And I'd hate to send somebody back to school, 15 years in a row because they relocated to a city and now it's a public library. Because if you have the heart of librarianship in you, I think you will do well in any category because you're there to serve. That's on my soapbox. Now I'm going to leave the meeting so that we won't get carried out any further. Thank you.
Good for me.
yeah.
Thank you. You all have a good weekend. I'm going to sign off.
Was that the last one?
That was the last one.
Okay.
And I just want to say, this doesn't have to be recorded or put in the description.
It is being recorded.
Right, I'm sorry. But it doesn't need to be reflected in the minutes, because just a general comment is, and I appreciate what Wanda said. But I honestly, the thought of working in an academic library, it frightens me. I don't, and if there were an academic library certification commission or, process, I'd run the other way, and would hope that no one ever challenged or asked me to apply for it, because I ain't doing it. I can't do it. I had 2 very brief stints in academic library service, and they were brief for a reason, because I'm good at what I do now, or relatively speaking. I'm not great at it, but I'm comfortable here in the public sphere. Academic, I'm intimidated by it.
I love this conversation because I think the public may not really appreciate what the differences are between the different types of libraries. And, the major schools around the country, library science programs, have basically 6 concentrations. And, to the outside, many folks may scratch their head because they think a library is a library is a library. And it truly, there are, there's commonalities which we do fully understand, but we forget library services are services that are co-developed with your audience that you're working with, right? The community that you're serving. And their needs their information needs are vastly different. And the norms and the professional norms for addressing those needs are really very different. It's amazing to have students that are, flexible, that can, set themselves up, that can work across boundaries. It makes them highly employable, flexible to move to different parts of the country, different parts of the world. And we certainly want our standards to be able to encourage that to happen as well. But we also, for us in the field, we know, that there are some real differences that are there.
Yes.
And then you throw in the whole school media thing. You're talking about some differences. So I think that's a really good point. So yeah. All right. Well, I think we saw the library problems for the day, for the
day, yes. For the
That said, the date of our next regular meeting will be June 10th, 2022, likely to occur via Zoom, I presume, at 10:30 a.m. yet again. And so if there are no questions, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion. Second.
Nina made the motion, Sandra seconded it. We'll now do a roll call vote. Dr. Gant, what say you?
Yes, I agree to adjourn.
Sandra, lovely.
I agree.
Nina Chaffin?
Yep, I agree too.
And I also agree. The meeting stands adjourned. The time is 11:24. And the next meeting of the Public Library Certification Commission is again on June 10th, 2022 at 10:30 a.m. And let the record show we did this in under an hour.
All
Prior to
right.
COVID, it would have taken me an hour and a half just to get to the meeting site. So this is
Recording stopped.
great.
Oh, that's true. That's what we've been saving all of our drive time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes a full day event for some of y'all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lauren.
Have
I think Sarah's dropped off the call.
Sarah. Have a wonderful weekend.
Do you have
Likewise, you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.